Hello, good evening. I just finished eating dinner. Today was pretty packed. I was doing lots of stuff, um, including work. I have a lot of contract work that I need to sort out, so just been working. Hung out with the family and did all that kind of normal human things that you would do: eat, work out, walk around, watch some TV. Um, yeah, hope you guys were doing some normal human things as well. What I'm going to do right now, though, because I want to try to do a video, at least one video every day, and maybe try to do two videos on the weekdays. But what I'm going to try to do is a 10-minute painting. And yeah, the goal that I'm trying to get is to try to achieve some really high quality painting in under 10 minutes. And so before I get started, though, I thought I would make some better tools. So one of the things that I like about a tool like Procreate is their smudge is pretty fantastic. I want to make sure that I can do some basic smudging or mixing. That isn't too bad. This is actually not too bad. Let's make it a little bit more performant. I think getting rid of the texture will do that. Yeah, and then let's go to the transfer. Let's make the wetness jitter have some pen pressure to it. That might help. Okay, let's do this. Okay, and then let's do that. Okay, maybe we should change the brush tip to be something a little bit more textury and see what this provides. Oh, I just realized I didn't tell my children that they should not come in, so they will probably come in unless I can do this within 10 minutes. But we'll see. Let me try this. All right, this might do. This might do. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. Brick. Yeah, brick mixer. All right, cool. And let's bring this up to the very top. Put on the very back end. Cool. Right on. Okay, and I'm pressing Shift B to go between the two. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Let's start. And again, I don't have like an official timer overlay, so you're just gonna have to just look at the clock. It's about 3 minutes have elapsed. So everything beyond this point, we should be done around the 13-minute mark, roughly. All right, just started the timer. So yeah, how are you guys doing today? How's life treating you guys? Um, for me, I've been watching a lot of TV. Um, and I don't mean like television, like I've been watching like Netflix and Hulu, but like TV shows, series. Just because every time I'm on YouTube these days, it's just filled with just so much negativity. I have been trying to purge my algorithm though. Lately, I've been getting a lot of really cool motivational stuff, like how to do things as an artist, like how to make T-shirts and how to do this. And I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Well, maybe I should do that. Um, like these types of stuff. Like I'm like, yeah, I never even considered doing that kind of things, especially seeing as the tides shift. Like it might be really smart to kind of pivot here and there if reasonable. But I do have a lot of contract work, and I get it pretty regularly. But I was just thinking, like on alongside like me making my own video games, like it doesn't hurt to try to create some secondary opportunities and products. And I actually have done that in the past. I used to make like books and prints, and those always did really well. It just took so much effort to kind of just get them up and running. And I'm kind of in the world of like, yeah, maybe I should do this, especially because my daughter is really into this type of stuff, and it could be a great way to start like a quote unquote print company with my daughter as she begins her artistic journey, and allow her to have something that she can do and maybe be her thing. and I can just kind of springboard it. But at the end of the day, I was thinking about this. It's like the two things I love the most is um, making content, like making concept arts or video games or working on animations and film, like actually making kind of entertainment type products, and teaching and helping people, you know? So I don't know. We'll see. But one thing that I have been doing, like I said, is just watching TV shows and movies, and it's just such a great reminder what the heck I'm doing out here. Like what I actually love. I really love this stuff. And one of the shows I'm watching right now is House, and I'm like, dang, this show is better than I remember it. And I don't think I've ever watched like House is one of those series type shows or episodic. Is that the best way to describe it? Actually, I have no idea. But what I mean by this is that the show isn't reliant on like knowing kind of what's happened in the last episode. It's not chronological. There is some of that, but it's not heavily reliant on it. Like it's usually like, oh, this patient has some sort of rare disease. They think it's cancer. Most likely it's cancer. But as they start to dig, it becomes clear it's not cancer. It's a rare disease. Or sometimes it is cancer, and yeah. But it's pretty entertaining every episode. Um, House is such a cool character, right? Like this character that is a real dickhead, but only in for the sake of good, right? He always does what is right, but he just does it so mean spirited. Which actually reminds me of something like one thing that I love about that kind of premise is that it's like, you know, if somebody is telling you something that's true, that you should try to listen to what they're saying versus somebody who might be telling you something that's wrong, but they're like telling you nicely, or they're telling you something really incoherent, but like because they're charismatic, like you're just like, oh, that makes sense, I guess. And then when you leave the room, you're like, wait a minute, does that actually make sense? So it's always good to kind of like spot check, right? What has been said. And I like to take pride in the fact that I try to listen to how people are saying things, not, what people are saying, not how they're saying it. And it kind of reminds me of like this incident where I had a buddy of mine. He's a big fan of like these like male influencers online that are, in my opinion, deplorable. And I was making the case to him. I was like, look, dude, there are people on this platform that, in my opinion, are better male role models. Like this person is just super hyperbolic. This person's like incredibly controversial for no real good reason. You know, like they have like a lot of actual skills and certain things that they can leverage and help people like from that vantage point, but they go over the top and they think they know everything. And that's just a big sign of uh like they actually probably don't know anything. You know? And I sent them a couple videos of like people that I really liked. And he listened to them. He's like, no, I don't like the way this guy sounds. And I'm like, what? He's like, he sounds too soft. I'm like, well, sure, he's very soft spoken, but the way he describes how to solve problems and the way that he kind of walks you through it, and it clearly comes from a stage of empathy. Like it's so powerful, you know. And it's you can really hear it, and I get obviously some inspiration from this. You can, if you ever hear me teach and help others, like I always talk like this too. I think there's no reason to be mean to make a point, right? And if you are going to be mean, it should feel like, oh shoot, like normally AJ's not mean, but if he's being mean now, that must mean that I have, ran the patience gamut and I need to kind of pay more attention. Like there's more value in kind of a more assertive approach from somebody who's a lot more soft spoken than if they're always super assertive, you know? Anyway, he's just like, nah, this shit's stupid. And I'm like, what the? just, yeah, it just makes me, it's like watching House reminds me of like, in this instance, like he is truly an asshole, but he is saying stuff that is helping and making people, like saving people's lives, most of the cases, you know? Okay, I got about like 3 minutes left. But yeah, it's a great show. And I think when it comes to teaching, I remember I had a teacher once, uh, like he was really, really hard on people. And for me, it worked really well. Like I'm pretty good given really hard circumstances. He said to me once, because I was using a lot of like interesting brushes and what have you, which reminds me, I didn't even use my mixer brush one time. Um, oh yeah, that's great. This is giving me some creaminess. Um, but anyway, yeah, he told me I had a very gimmicky paint style, which is true. I like use like stamp brushes, and I would use all these like filters and stuff to try to hide my inability to paint well. And when he said that to me, like pretty much for about 5 years, I almost exclusively only used the round brush to kind of make a point of like I can paint anything with anything, you know? And that's true. I ultimately am able to paint most anything using simply the round brush. And yeah, it really worked well on me. But I remember another classmate of mine, he was like, "You're worthless. You'll never make it in an industry." And they ultimately quit school, you know? But I hear they're doing really well regardless. But it's just one of those things I remember, like, their reaction was, I'm going to quit school. My reaction was, I'm going to double down and become a great painter. And again, I don't feel that that reaction that they had was quote unquote weak. It just means that method of teaching just didn't work on them. It actually made them feel potentially more insecure, potentially more um, down on themselves and their abilities, which I don't necessarily support. But this teacher was a great teacher, ultimately speaking. Like he had a lot of really good points, and he taught me a lot of really valuable lessons on how to become a good painter. And so for me, it's very clear that he only really spoke to those who were already like on the brink of success. Like they were already really hard workers. They were already really strong thinkers. He just helped push them over the edge. And I don't think that's always a good method for everyone. Um, okay, time's up. This is as far as I got in 10 minutes. I think I can crank. I think I can crank up the speed here. Because I did those 4 to 5 minutes, and that felt still too fast. Granted, the level of complexity is within my grasp. Like this more simplistic kind of character design. Like it's not too crazy. So perhaps let me try another 10-minute painting, but I'll do a little bit more large scale painting and see where I can go with this. And I threw a gradient map on here to kind of give it some color, so it's not so plain. In fact, I think I'm gonna get rid of this white too, just make it straight up like yellow. Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, it's one of those things where when you teach to like, I've come to the terms of like teaching shouldn't be about just telling people how things are. It's about meeting people where they're at and giving them the tools to be able to accomplish great feats of skill, you know, but be prepared for what the world will have to throw at them because it's not easy what we do out here. It is incredibly challenging. And I think when you start to teach people and approach people with this like aggressive, like it's hard out there, and that's the only tool you use to teach, you're only going to kind of weed out the individuals who are just not prepared to hear that. And I've met quite a lot of artists who are very soft-spoken and nice and kind, and they are very accomplished, but yet still insecure about their abilities and their skill. And I'm always wondering like how they were able to achieve these types of success. And the common relation that all great artists tend to have is that we just never stop drawing. And I realized that if I want to become a great teacher, a reflection of my education value, like my educational value, is more along the lines of people who you would never imagine could succeed. The people that you look at are as the procrastinators, the people that you look at as the ones that will never push through, the ones that you look at are incapable of great skill, all of a sudden achieve this. And if I had any part of that origin story, that'd be wonderful, you know? And some methods of teaching just do not help individuals. And so, like I said, I just try to find a million different ways to explain to people that all you need to do is practice and all you need to do is study and do that consistently. And yeah, with that being said, I filled my quota for doing a video today. I'm going to try to do a couple tomorrow because I did have some stuff I wanted to talk about. There's some other things I think would be cool to talk about. And I just wanted to say thank you guys for all the subscriptions and likes and follows and all that good stuff. I've been getting really positive comments and messages and really good commentary that has been very exciting to me. One person messaged me on Instagram and was telling me how they really felt like it was a breath of fresh air to kind of hear some commentary that's not so doom and gloom, right? And that there's some optimism out there. And I think that there is definitely plenty of room to kind of be critical of the state of the world, the state of our industry. I think that's totally fair. But we need a bit of balance. It can't just only be that. We need people to feel like they can give some guidance and some leadership to make people remember that there is a vibrant and beautiful artistic community and that we should get back together and hang out with one another more. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, I think I can sharpen this up. I'm gonna do another 10-minute video. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Another 10-minute quick paint and see if I can do something that has a lot more going for it. And if I do well, then I might crank it down to 8 minutes and see how I do. Anyway, cheers.